Well, I've got 5 things to talk to you about.
You're cooking with gas anytime
No,
you're
she
ready.
just started and I need to do
All right.
I'll be out of here by 8 o'clock.
Well, today we get to study Torah for the sake of heaven. And some of the stuff that's going to come out of this class today will change you forever. Spiritually speaking as well. We want to thank God for His Torah.
Amen.
And we want to dedicate this to Catherine, our Torah study today to Catherine, who is in Colorado, who is suffering with cancer, and Yehuda Chai ben Mataleh, Leah, who is in Israel, who needs a new heart.
And also John Culver is having chemo on his liver, and he's not doing very well right now.
And John
There's no water in the coffee.
Culver,
Could you give me some
Culver, from Clean.
and John Culver,
Do you want some?
who is having a liver issue. So we ask Hashem to intervene for these people for the sake of heaven. And blessed are you, Hashem our God, giver of the Torah, and healer of all mankind.
Amen.
And may the Torah that we learn today, we remember, and that it puts us on the right path. So, today we are in Parsha Toldos, or Toldot, either way. It is the story of Isaac and his offspring. This is the offspring or generations of Isaac. So, if someone would give me the Sunday school version of this Parsha. Anybody. Even on the phone. What's the Sunday school version of the Parsha?
Well, Eleazar went. Eleazar went to find Isaac a bride,
Okay?
and the sign was that the person at the well would offer him water, and so that was Rebecca. And he explained it all to her father, and she came home with them. And when they took her into Sarah's tent, the lights came back to Sarah's tent.
And he not only asked for her to give water, but for his camels too.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Well, y'all did very good, but that was last week's Parsha.
Well, I'm leading up to it now.
So what about this week's Parsha?
This week's Parsha. All right.
I'll give you a hint. Isaac and Rebecca engage in marital union, and she gets pregnant.
He has
Yes.
twins.
And she has twins.
And they fight in her womb.
They fight in her womb.
But they're two nations.
And there's 2 nations in her womb.
And she
And
despairs of being pregnant. Why is God putting her through all this?
After so long.
Yeah, after so long.
Because
being
she was
married.
barren to begin with. Or it appeared.
all
that
the
she was.
all the
20
matriarchs
years.
were
20 years.
barren. And y'all ought to know the answer to that because we've studied all of this. And it goes on, and there's this ongoing struggle between these 2 brothers. Abraham dies, and Isaac is dying, is going to die, and the barakah, the blessing, has to be given. And sneaky line, sorry, Jacob steals it, right? And poor Esau
No, you said before they knew what they were doing.
Oh!
That's what I was thinking. They knew what they were doing.
I'm giving y'all the Sunday school version.
Yes.
I'm giving y'all the Sunday school version.
We lost John.
And Rebecca helps her son connive and get it done. And
He was her favorite.
you know, and Esau liked this one. I mean, Isaac liked Esau, and Rebecca liked Jacob, and it's a family torn, and all these things are going on. And Jacob steals the birthright, the bracha,
Shame on
and
him.
shame on him. And now he's
And
forced.
Esau sells it for a bowl of stew.
Yeah, because he was starving. Why couldn't he just give him some soup? He's his brother, for goodness sake. And
Why should he have been so flippant to give up the whole
yeah,
blessing for
yeah,
soup?
yeah. And
That's not smart of him either.
so Jacob has to flee and go to Laban
For his life.
for his life,
Which actually is his uncle.
which is his uncle. He has to go up there,
But he knows it's a conniver.
and yeah. I mean, Rebecca knew what kind of man Laban was,
But he was obedient.
and
He was
all of a
obedient
sudden,
son.
it's not this Parsha, but when he gets there, there's Leah and Rachel. How does that work? All right, that's the Sunday school version. Now, what we have to ask ourselves is, what was everyone thinking?
Well,
Not only that, what was everyone doing?
Beats me.
Well, they knew what they were doing, but it was what they were thinking.
Okay, turn it
Now,
around.
did Esau know what he was doing?
I don't think so.
I don't either.
We have to say, we always have to say,
That they did.
they're masters.
Esau
Even
too.
Esau.
They're masters.
He wasn't spiritual at all. He let his stomach rule.
But we always have to say, they know exactly what they're doing. They are masters, and they are trying to fix Adam.
You know, Esau living in the house of Isaac knew stuff that we'll never know just because he lived there.
Okay.
You know, so he can't say he didn't know anything. Esau maybe not cared
Yeah.
about it, but
But
let me
by
tell you what,
osmosis, just
he
osmosis,
just
he
by
got it.
being there, he knew stuff.
Yeah.
His grandfather was Abraham. So are we saying Abraham never talked to Esau? Shem, they were in the tents of Shem. Are we going to say that Shem never spoke, Melchizedek never spoke with Esau? Hardly,
He
hardly,
didn't have a heart for,
Hardly.
for God.
Okay.
hardly.
If they all knew what they were doing,
Yes.
were they in concert in doing this, or was it each individual working on it?
Well,
The answer is yes.
well, why did he run
Yeah.
if they were in
To which
concert?
one?
He was afraid for his life.
And we're going to get into we're going to flesh it all out, and we're going to get to the reasons what everyone was doing. But as we go through these parshas, as we have seen from day one, did Adam not know what he was doing? Did Adam not fall? Did Noah not know what he was doing? Did Noah not fall?
So it's okay if we fall.
Did Esau not know what he was doing? Did Esau fall?
But we don't know what we're doing, and we
But after this class, we're going to know what we're doing. For the first time in 4,000
We're
years,
doing class tonight or the course?
this class tonight,
Okay.
and for the first time in this class tonight, and those of you in the next 100 years, if you come across this video, this is the most important class for Gentiles and Noahides ever. So, because we have figured out what is going on. And it has been through divine inspiration, Ruach HaKodesh, that this has been transmitted to us. I'm almost certain of it. So,
Now, what it is that has been transmitted, is it that we now know how the Noahides and the Gentiles fit.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it is we're going to learn?
That's what we're going to learn. That's what we're going to learn. And I gave you the answer the other day, and I was going to see if you came up with
Esau
anything.
lost his head.
Esau lost his head. Okay, so I'm going to go through the Parsha here, and I'm just going to pick out a few things that we're going to discuss. And when the kids were born, it says in the Torah, when you ever read the Torah, you have to read it very close because it's all in there. If you had a narrative, a whole narrative, and you took this line and a word and this line, and you just kind of picked out things and made a summary of the whole thing, and the words that were in there, you should be able to fill in the blank. But that's how God hides himself within himself. So it says that the first red one emerged, and entirely like a hairy mantle. And so they named Esau. After his brother was born, with his hands grasping on the heel of Esau, and he called his name Jacob. Now, what we have to see here very clearly is they named Esau, and he named Jacob. Why does it specifically...
The daddy did?
Why does it specifically say they and then he? Because we're talking cosmic effects here. Always take these stories and take them out of 3D and stick them into 4D and see what's going on. The external forces, they named Esau. Because Esau is Edom, the fallen vessels of the kings of the Edomite kings. The external.
Did Edom exist at that point?
Edom has always existed. Edom existed in Nekudim. We have to. All that's going on is it's playing out in the natural now.
But I mean, was it on the map?
Always on the map. This whole thing is nothing but a lower iteration of what took place above.
Yeah. The question is where was the map?
Yeah.
It's always been on it.
It's always been on it. Now, and it says that he named Jacob. Well, who is he?
Was it his daddy, Isaac?
Shove it into 4D. Who is he?
Hashem.
Thank you. So, on one level, we can say the people did, named Esau. And on one level, we can say Isaac named Jacob. Shove it up a dimension, it's the klipa. And the fallout, the outside external forces, they named Esau, the Edomite, fall. And Hashem
Wasn't
named...
Isaac following God at that point?
Of course. Of course. Isaac was following God. But he also knows the formula. He knows everything. He knows everything we know. But he really knows it. Okay?
We know it here, and
Yeah.
he knows it here in the heart.
And so Esau here is now going along, and it says Jacob Esau became one who knows trapping, man of the field, and Jacob was a man abiding in tents. What is Esau doing? Trapping. And what is Jacob doing in the tents? Well, we know there's a person in the tents. Shem, Melchizedek. He's the teacher in the tents. Jacob was in study, in Torah study. But it says that Esau was trapping. Esau was so good at digging into Torah, he could trap you with it. Because he was pure justice.
Pure justice?
He's Guvarot. He's red, he's hairy,
So
all
he's studying
Guvarot.
outside and he's
He
discussing
could
with people.
he would go to his father all the time and trap him in Torah question. It says he was a mighty hunter. He would hunt for things to trap people with.
So that's why his father liked him best.
Sounds like the Church of Christ.
What? Okay, okay. That is so crucial. That is so crucial. That is so crucial. That is so
We may not
crucial.
want it to go out
No, no,
the
no,
airways.
no. It's the essence of what's going on here.
Well, repeat it. I didn't hear
That's
it,
it.
and they didn't hear
No,
it.
no, no. Go ahead and say it because it's where we're headed.
It sounds like the Church.
It sounds
of
like the
Christ.
Church of Christ. It sounds like every Christian,
But especially the Church of Christ.
but especially the Church of Christ. They'll take the Scripture and make it and turn it to try to say, well, what about the rapture? Well, what about this? Well, what about that?
They're
Well,
educated in how to
they're
entrap you.
That's
in
right.
Their way of thinking.
And get you off-
Exactly.
and get you off track.
Exactly. And that is called Esau.
So you're saying they have the essence of Esau.
They are Esau.
Christians?
All Gentiles. But they are the body. And what you're going to find out tonight is we are the head. And the head gets cut off from the body and rolls into the lap of Isaac
And it's buried down there at
in Machpelah.
Machpelah. Yeah. Wow.
Now, we're going to see how we get there. Okay, so now he's pouring some of this red stuff we know as lentil stew. Why are they eating lentil stew? Because it's Abraham's burial, and that's what they serve. And so the eldest son is supposed to give the eulogy, and he's supposed to go into the tent, the Holy of Holies there, and sacrifice unto God.
Wouldn't that be Isaac?
That would be Esau,
He's the firstborn.
the firstborn.
No, but of Abraham.
Well, Isaac is not the firstborn of Abraham. And so Ishmael is.
First after that
No,
circumcision.
no. Firstborn. So
No, that's true.
it's, and now, and by all purposes, Esau circumcised in the Abrahamic covenant.
Well, why Esau? He's the grandson.
Well, don't you think Abraham taught Isaac circumcision? Don't you think Isaac circumcised his
but I'm
grandson?
thinking of the usual burial and eulogy.
But the
and-
firstborn grandson is the one who gives the eulogy.
Really?
Well, it's not really a eulogy. He's in charge of the sacrifice. Well, what do we know about somebody who is impure that's going to do a sacrifice?
They're not supposed to do
They
it.
get killed.
They get killed.
They get killed.
So his selling is getting Jacob to do it because if anybody dies, it'll be Jacob. It won't be him.
Well, he's not worried about Jacob. He just knows he'll die.
Yeah.
So he says, Jacob says, sell me this day your birthright. Jacob is saving his brother.
Saving his life.
Yeah.
He's saving his brother. And Esau said, look, am I going to die? So what's my birthright to me?
I am going to die.
He knows he goes and makes that sacrifice.
He's dead. He's a dead duck.
They
Yeah.
both know.
They both know. Sure they do.
Isn't Jacob a little arrogant?
Well, no, because it's
That's the Christian twist.
it's
Okay, 'cause that's what I always thought.
he's like
Yeah.
he's like, hey man, you saved my life, so what's it to me?
Okay, back up 2 steps. How do we know he was unclean?
Well, because he was not in the tents all the time, knowing the perfect ritual way. He was always out doing his own thing, and what he would do is he would study a little bit, and then he would come in and
No, just to trap you.
and trap his father up, acting like he was knowing some Torah. See, when Rebecca was pregnant, as she would walk down the road, when they walked by yeshiva, Jacob would kick. When they walked by a place of idol worship, Esau would kick. And the reason she was so upset is because Esau destroyed her womb.
How did she know who was who in the womb?
Yeah.
We always say They knew everything.
They didn't.
Esau would have been on which side?
Esau Gubra.
Right, left side.
The left side. And Jacob was on.
Well, let me
the
tell
right.
you something. From being pregnant 5 times, long after, I thought I knew when they kicked, you know. Afterwards, I would feel a kick, and I was not pregnant, but I'd feel this kick, and I thought,
Muscle
what is going on?
twitch.
No, I think it was gas.
Okay, back to Torah. All right, back to Torah. Now,
But you don't always know what you think you know.
It could be gas.
it could be gas.
But
Rebecca was completely misguided. She had gas.
Gas when she went by the items.
that could have been
Okay. All right,
Bring it
folks,
in.
back
Bring it in.
to the deal. All right, now,
The thing is, you don't always know what you think you know.
well, they
they
knew.
knew.
But they knew.
Let's just say they knew
Okay.
because they're on a mission.
Well, I'm on a mission. I just don't know what it is.
But there were some
Okay.
many generations closer.
Back to Torah, y'all.
Yeah.
Back to Torah.
And then went-
Back to Torah. Now, it goes on to talk about Abraham here in chapter 26. And it's and now this is pre-Sinai. Right? This is way before Moses and Sinai. Way before. Right? And so it says that I'm going to increase you and bless you and all these things. Why? Because Abraham obeyed my voice, observed my safeguards, my commandments, my decrees, and my Torahs.
What does that mean?
More than one.
Oral and written.
Oral and written.
And that's why it was.
That's
given
why it
twice.
says Torahs,
which had not yet been passed to Moses.
which had not yet been given on Mount Sinai. So what we have to understand is these men
No.
had the entire Torah.
Well, they had the written Torah.
And they had the oral. They had the Torahs.
They had the written Torah.
They had the written Torah and they had the oral Torah. Although, don't get confused with, the written has to be written down and the oral has to be. In other words, if I tell Russell this is halakhic, and then I tell him, this is Kabbalistic, he's going to know the halakhic is written and the Kabbalistic is oral transmission. You see what I'm saying? But I told him both of them. All right, whether or not they had a pen and a paper is moot. He had both Torahs.
Okay.
He had it all.
One is the forest view, and the other is the oral is the details.
Yeah. So and it says he kept all his commandments. So he had all 613 commandments. All right. So you always got to go back and say, we're not dealing with fools here. We are not dealing with fools. We are dealing with men of unprecedented wisdom and knowledge and women.
Unprecedented women?
Unprecedented women. All right? And so Isaac goes on to Gerar, and he said, he was going to go to Egypt, but God wouldn't let him go. Why wouldn't God let him go? Well, the reason God wouldn't let him go is because once he became the sacrifice, he was blemished.
Who are we talking about?
Isaac, with the Akedah, the binding of Isaac. He was blemished.
Who was blemished?
Isaac was blemished. How was Isaac blemished?
Well, his eyes were blind in his old age.
His eyes were blemished. Why
Because of his age.
Why were his eyes? Why did Isaac go blind? Because when he was
Because of the
bound, on the altar,
He saw the sacrifice.
he saw the Shekinah,
Oh, the Shekinah.
and he looked right at it.
So at the time when he married Rebecca, he was already blind.
No, it was a progression of things. But
It's macular.
that was what started. He got damage from looking at the Shekinah.
How do we know that?
Because the oral Torah says so. It's in the.
What did he begin to let go and?
No. He saw it. He was bound and he saw it. The angels were there, and I mean all of heaven came and stopped Abraham, so to speak.
It was a big deal.
It was a big deal. It was on Mount Moriah, which is the Evansteia, which is where the Dome of the Rock is. All
But
right.
he gave himself.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
He was okay with
He knew what he was doing. What was he doing? He was doing tikkun for murder that Adam caused in the fall. Right? He was doing tikkun. They were on a mission. He was on a mission. His daddy was on a mission. They knew what they were doing. And they were willing to go through with it to death.
And how close was this to Abraham's death?
Oh, this is very close. Yes. This is
It
all.
wasn't much later after he was.
Well, no, Abraham lived quite a while
No,
after,
no,
after
no.
the Akedah.
Yes, but she's talking about y'all are talking about two different things. Yeah.
I missed part. You said that he was blemished, his eyes, and then the next part I heard was his eyes were damaged by looking at the Shekinah. What did you say in between there?
Nothing. You're up to date. You're up to date.
Okay.
All right. And so he did not descend to Egypt because he was an unblemished offering, as it does not benefit you to go outside the land of Israel. When Isaac was placed on the altar, he became a tantamount to the elevation offering. And just as the offering may not be removed from the temple courtyard, so too Isaac was forbade for leaving Israeli soil.
When did he do that? I missed it.
Huh?
I missed it.
Y'all gotta listen.
Just repeat it again.
Okay, Isaac was going to go down to Egypt because there was famine in the land, just like his daddy.
Yes.
Right.
But God stopped him. He wouldn't let him go.
Oh, and that was the reason.
And I told y'all that was the reason, because he was a blemished offering, and the reason he was a blemished offering, because he was an offering, a korban, literally, because he was an offering, you can't take it outside the temple. Israel is the center. You know, the whole land is the temple at this time. Okay, so that's why he couldn't go to Egypt. So he had to stay there and ride out the famine. Now, what does famine always mean? Famine's always guverot. So what's happening here? Isaac is the sphirot of guverot. Esau's the sphirot of guverot. Rebecca is feminine. She's guverot. Jacob is Teferet. Now, Isaac, he couldn't see, quote unquote, the bad that Esau was doing, because they were both guverot. Isaac was inner guverot. Esau was outer guverot. But Rebecca, guverot, she's external. She's external guverot, and because guverot is a great judge of things, she could see it plain as day. So 3 guverots make a left, right? All right. So Rebecca, but Rebecca had also
is that
been
the example of the 2 Torahs?
The 2 Torahs. Well,
she was the oral.
no. What it is? No.
Teferet.
No. What it is? It's the story of the twin messiahs.
It's a prelude.
It's the twin messiahs. Jacob.
It's probably the
first
onset of it.
It's the first onset. It's the twin messiahs. Messiah ben Joseph
Oh, the first strata.
and Messiah ben David. Y'all follow me here.
That's a good question.
It's Messiah ben Joseph and Messiah ben David. We saw that in the Histal Shalut way back there. Right?
Okay, what's the
This is
difference
Jacob and
between-
Esau.
What's the difference between them?
Messiah ben Joseph is the one that suffers.
Right.
Okay.
Messiah
He
ben
prepares
David,
the way
he
for
prepares
Messiah.
the way. And the Messiah ben David is the one that rules and reigns. Right?
So that would be good. Right?
Do you know that the name Esau and the name Jesus are identical? So, what you see here is Esau is the Christianity. Their God is Esau. Jesus. Their followers like to trap you with their version of Torah. They'll take some from the old, some from the new, and put it together and says, no, it says this.
They create a
They
lie.
create their own
They
deal.
create a lie.
Now, so we go on.
Go back 2 steps. Now, explain how
We'll
they have
never
the
get
same
through
name.
this if we go
How
back.
do they have the same name?
The name
Jesus and Esau.
the name Yeshu and the name Esau are the exact same letters.
Hebrew letters.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So
Different vowels.
so he goes to Ger, and the men are trying to get his wife again, just like they did.
Sarah.
Because
Abraham.
yeah, and he knows the story. So what does he do? He does what his daddy did. Oh, she's my sister.
We all do that.
What is he saying? Who is Rebecca?
His relative.
Say it loud.
Who is Rebecca? She is my sister. What?
The Shekinah.
She's the Shekinah. So, now, it goes on, and let's go over here, and it comes to a place where Isaac has to dig these wells. There's these 3 wells, all right, and Abimelech's servants, who are contaminated Guvarot, they fill up 2 of them. And he has to move on to the 3rd one, and the 3rd one is called the first one is. I'm going to tell you what the transliteration is. The first one is called contention. The second was called hindrance, and the 3rd one is called spaciousness. These are likened to the 3 temples that were destroyed. They destroyed the first temple. They destroyed the second temple. But the 3rd one was spacious. Why is the 3rd one spacious?
Because it's forever.
It's
eternal.
it's
eternal.
it's the temple of Messiah.
What did you say the second one was?
Hindrance.
Hindrance.
All right. So here's one of the preludes to the destruction of the temples that's going on. There's lots going on in here. All right. So.
So all the way through the Torah, a well represents the temple.
The well can be the nukva, because it's the final hay. In other words, it has an opening where it can receive, and it can give what?
And water.
Feminine waters. And so if there's no feminine waters going up, there's no Ma'in Nukbin going up, they cap the well, the temple was destroyed. The kingdom was destroyed. You follow the math there, where it's all going? Because it's Malchut.
How did they cap the well?
Well, let's say they poured dirt in the well and filled the well up with dirt. All right, that's destruction of that well. That's destroying of Malchut. Destroying. There's no water can flow out of that. It's cut off.
I understand that, but you said the temple.
The
How
temple.
did they cut off the temple well?
How
did mankind do it?
The well is not the temple is not a well. What they're saying is when they destroyed this well, it's symbolically meaning the first temple is going to be destroyed. When they destroyed the second well, the second temple is going to be destroyed. Mm-hmm. They didn't destroy the 3rd temple because the 3rd temple is not going to be destroyed.
You mean the 3rd well?
The 3rd well, yes.
But I think the temple is, I've never thought about it until right now, it's like a well. It's a well of life.
Yes. Because it
If you
flows
understand
living
it.
water. It's all
Understand it.
you've got to put the math all together there. Now Esau, when he's 40 years old, because we have the 40 is a gestation time in the Histoshalut. 40 years old, he marries a wife, and her name is Judith, which is the female pronunciation of Judah. and there's not even been a Judah born yet. So he's doing something. Now, Esau, we're going to get into see, Jacob is Teferet. Teferet is truth. Jacob cannot lie. It's impossible for Jacob to lie. But he goes to his dad, and he goes in Esau's clean garments. Now, the garment that he had on was what?
It was the skin of a...
Okay, he had some skin on, but he wore his garment.
Was that coat?
Oh, come on! Come on!
Of Adam's coat.
Adam's coat?
He
a
had
skin?
Adam's
Skin?
coat.
A coat of skin?
Yeah, and Adam gave the coat to who?
Adam gave the coat to Isaac,
Noah.
Noah.
And Noah used it to get all the animals on the ark.
Right.
Because it controls all animals.
A coat?
Okay.
Or a staff?
I've never heard of
I've
coat.
never heard
Okay.
of coat. I heard
All
a
right.
staff.
Well, you're learning about the coat today.
Okay.
All right. And it's a garment. What do we know a garment is? A garment is a light covering.
That's what they used to cover. The boys used to cover their dad.
That's they
When
They
they
walked in back
and they used that coat to cover their dad. And who took the coat?
Nimrod.
Who took the coat?
Ham.
Shem.
Who?
Ham.
Ham took the coat. Ham gave it to,
Nimrod.
and who got it from Nimrod?
Esau.
Because what did Esau do to Nimrod?
Killed him.
Killed him. Because he was pure justice.
Shot him, didn't he?
Didn't think about it twice.
Didn't think about it twice. Took his coat.
Now, was what she said correct? It
What?
was light? The
Yeah,
coat
yeah,
was
yeah,
light?
yeah. Of course,
You think
it's
of it like that. Light, energy.
light energy. What it is, it's the Guvarot. It's the aspect of the Guvarot.
The judgment? Judgment
Yes,
coat?
that's all a part of it, but it's the aspect of the Guvarot energy, and we're talking
Which is
holy,
negative.
divine
Negative.
Guvarot.
Right.
No, yes, it's negative, but in this, it's holy of holies.
Yeah.
All right. So he walks in. And Isaac's blind, and he asks Jacob. He says,
Now, who is he?
"We're talking about." I just said Isaac. He walks into Isaac, and Isaac is blind, and he says,
Who? Esau walks into Isaac?
Jacob.
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 "Yes, Jacob."
Okay.
Jacob walks into Isaac, and he says, Jacob said to his father, he says, "Father," and he says, "It is I, comma, Esau, your firstborn."
I thought he couldn't lie.
I thought he couldn't lie.
He didn't.
He's talking about the light.
He goes in his father and he says, "It is I, Esau, your firstborn."
Oh.
The one that deceives?
I got it.
The one that
No. There's no deceiving going on. Jacob is not deceiving anybody.
He says, "It's me." And then he just makes a statement.
Yes,
Esau is your firstborn.
that's right.
It's
two
right.
separate-
It's two
what
separate-
he's telling him is he's
Yeah.
telling him he's Jacob.
Yeah.
It's me. Isaac is your firstborn.
Exactly. Exactly.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what he's doing.
Yeah.
But here is the secret. He had gotten the birthright by this time.
his daddy didn't know it.
It didn't matter. We always have to say he knows everything.
Yeah.
He has the birthright. What is the birthright? It's his soul. It's his Josephic, messianic soul. He had his birthright. So
So if he had
guess what?
Esau's birthright, he had the the Messiah ben Yosef mantle.
Yes.
And now he was already had the Messiah ben David mantle.
He already had the Messiah ben David mantle. And we know this because he has to go marry Leah and Rachel.
Well, that's why he does it.
That's why he does it. Because he already took that aspect. He went into the soul of Esau and did cosmic surgery and pulled out that spark that was getting contaminated by the klipa of Esau.
Because of the things he was doing.
So when he tells him he's Esau, guess what? He is Esau.
Because he has that spark.
He is his brother. Many levels of things going on here. Because Jacob cannot lie. Now, and Esau and Isaac knows he's the one that should get the blessing, because when the garment came in, he smelled the Garden of Eden, because that's where the garment came from.
Still had the smell of Eden.
And then when Esau comes in later on in the narrative, he smells the fires of Gehenna. And he knew he had given the blessing, the bracha, to the right kid. Now, Rebecca. Oh, Rebecca's in on this deal too. Rebecca's in on this deal. And she says to Jacob, she says, listen to me.
She repeated that many times.
Oh, why did she repeat that? She goes, listen to me. And then she says, listen only to me. What was she doing?
Was she trying to get him focused?
Who is she?
Shekinah?
Go back further.
Hava?
Who is she? Come on, Hava. She's Hava. She's Eve. What did Eve tell Adam?
Listen to me.
Listen to me.
Yeah, eat that apple.
She did the tikkun for Eve for telling Adam to eat. Because what does she do? She says, listen to me. Go make for your father something to eat. 2 things. Why 2 things? Because it was the tree of good and evil.
What were the 2 things? The lentils and what else?
We'll go through it in a minute. I have them.
Okay.
But anyway, makes him eat 2 things. And she does tikkun for Hava, because she is Hava. See, we always got to take it back to the Garden of Eden. Always take it back to the Garden of Eden. Who is Esau? He is Cain. Who is Jacob? He is Abel. Who is Isaac? In this narrative, he is Adam. They all know who they are. They all know what they're doing. They're on a mission from God.
Was it the souls of Adam that were, as Vendel Jones said, recycled souls?
Yeah. But these
They
people
were,
are
they're the same?
they are literally coordinates in Adam. All right. So fragrance of the garden. This is why Isaac trembled and was very perplexed when his firstborn Esau. That's because of the Gehenna deal. If you read in that narrative there.
Are you in the orchard book?
No, I'm in the Chumash.
The Chumash, okay.
Okay, so that's kind of the Parsha in a nutshell. In the klipa, out of the klipa, out of a nutshell. Now, so let's go through my notes. What is everyone thinking here?
Now your notes, are they from Basque?
Yeah. This is for my study and stuff with him, and I covered probably most of it just in discussion. But Esau is Edom. His name was Edom. They called him Edom. He's red. Edom is Rome. Catholicism.
Oh wow.
They always call Rome Edom.
And
All right.
Adam was red.
Huh?
Adam is red.
So was David.
Golly, how does that fit?
Yeah, right here.
Ready. He was ready.
But
He
how
was
does that
red.
fit?
Holy of Holies. There's Guvarot in every
That's
Sphirot.
why they need the red.
Guvarot is not necessarily bad. We can't think of it with
Yeah,
a dualistic mindset
yeah.
thinking Guvarot is just bad or Hesed is just good. They both have
No,
the aspects
yeah.
of both of them.
Oh, they
And
need to
see,
balance.
what mitigated the Guvarot in this whole thing? Who was working in the background to mitigate this whole Guvarot thing?
Shkina.
Rivka.
Huh?
Rivka.
Who?
Rivka.
Rivka, Rachel, Rachel.
Oh, well, you're close.
Hava?
Rebecca.
No.
No, it was Leah.
Who?
Leah.
Yeah.
Leah. How did she do? What was she doing?
She was praying.
She was crying. What is water?
Hesed.
And there's salt in the tears. That is the mitigation of Guvarot.
So the salt in the tears is the water flowing is Hesed, and the salt in the
Yes.
tears is the mitigation
She was
of Guvarot.
crying
That's
for
why she's crying
Esau
all the
because
time.
she knew he had been taken over by the virus of the Klippa. And she knew she had to marry him. And she could not do tikkun for Lilith marrying Esau. So her prophetic prayers.
Well, Lilith married Esau. Lilith didn't marry Esau.
No.
Leah.
Leah, who
Leah.
is,
She married Jacob.
she was doing tikkun for Lilith and Adam.
Oh, okay.
And so she's working in the background. She's on her mission. And so Rebecca knows this. So where does she have to send her son to?
Her brother.
Her brother. Where the two women that are going to put this whole thing together are. They know what they're doing.
Right.
There ain't a roll of the dice in any of this. There's not a roll of the dice in any Parsha of God. They are.
She was certain he would come home with Leah.
Oh, they knew. When we get to the Parsha, Jacob knows he's marrying Leah. He knows that.
Why did he act so surprised?
Well, y'all are reading. Don't read the Parsha from a Christian point of view.
It's just the same thing, just like everybody thought that Jacob lied.
Yeah, Jacob didn't lie. You always have to tell yourself, these guys are working.
He knew what he was doing.
They know what they're
But
doing.
did he still really suffer because he really loved Rachel?
Well, of course he favored her more.
So it was a sacrifice.
And
Because that was
That's who he was supposed to marry.
that's who his soul root. That was his soul root wife anyway.
Esau was supposed to marry Leah.
Yeah, Esau was supposed to rectify and marry the soul root of Leah. But because he took that spark out, now he had to do both.
He had to do them both.
But he favored Rachel because that was his soul root. She was half of him from the beginning of the world.
So he's doing Esau's part of what
Exactly.
of tikkun by doing both,
Yes.
Exactly.
marrying
Yes.
both,
Yes.
and
He has to do both parts of the Messiah. Messiah ben Joseph and Messiah ben David.
And
He has to do both
in the
parts.
grand scheme of things, Jacob saved his brother Esau from death.
Yeah.
And Esau knows it. Because later on in the narrative, when Jacob sees Esau, what does he say? I have seen the face of God. He's looking at his brother. He sees the holiness. He sees God when he sees his brother. Because what happens in the end? Who saves Jacob? Us. The head of Esau returns and becomes holy and saves Jacob.
And so the righteous remnant of Esau is the one that saves Jacob.
Because Jacob saved his head.
What goes around comes around.
What goes around comes around. Why are we learning Torah? Why are we coming out of Christianity? Why are we coming out of the Klippa? Because we are now attaching ourselves. We are going to save Israel. We are the Noga. We are the light that shoots out of the head of the Messiah and destroys Gog and Magog. We are that energy. We are. So Jacob was in the tents of Shem. Now Esau is in the tents of Shem. We are Esau in the tents of Shem. What does Shem mean? The name. Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh. Melchizedek. We are studying in the tents of Shem. We are doing tikkun for Esau. That's what we are. When we do mitzvah, you've heard it over and over and over from the rabbis and from Jews. You're not doing anything to Jacob, to Israel, to Adam. You're not doing one thing.
Not adding nothing to it.
You're not adding nothing to it. Why? Because that's Israel's job to fix Jacob. It's our job to fix Esau. And guess what? We are his twin brother.
To Israel.
To Israel. We're his twin brother. You know, we're the ones that are going to join hand in hand with Israel and conquer the nations that come against them.
From the same root, from the same thing.
We're from the same womb. We're from the same womb. So no, we don't need to be Jewish. We don't need to be Judah. We don't need to be that. What we need to be is in the tents of Shem, learning Torah
As Esau.
as Esau, fixing this entire thing. It's all come full circle. Now we are the cosmic workers of the head of the body of Esau. And those who don't do this will be cut off.
They're the body.
They're the body. Just like the head was cut off the body. It's only the body that returns to the lap of Isaac.
The head.
The head that returns to the lap of Isaac. Where? In Machpelah. What is Machpelah? Machpelah's... Hey, mute your deal. Machpelah is the entrance to Garden of Eden. What's the Garden of Eden? It's heaven. That's the way in.
Well, the question is then, where's the body?
The body? The body is...
Esau's body.
The rest of the body is on the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well...
What did happen to his body? Does it say?
Obviously it was destroyed. It's not in Machpelah.
It's not in Gan Eden.
It's still on the exterior. It's still in exile.
It's still in exile. That's a good way of putting it.
All right, that's the best way.
The church is still in exile.
All right, so Esau was a hunter. He was a powerful
The
Kabbalist.
church is in exile.
Yeah, Esau was a powerful Kabbalist, but he got mind parasites from the Klippa. He got.
Who was?
Esau. Why did the Klippa, the mind parasites, attack Esau and not Jacob?
Because he was the firstborn.
Okay, well that's one reason.
Because he was really active.
Because he was Guvarot. It
Right.
always attacks through the Guvarot. It attacked through him. What did the Nakash do? He attacked through Eve, through the Guvarot. It's always, he's the most vulnerable because of his root. Because there's fissures in the Guvarot.
Okay, I guess I'm getting lost. If Esau was Guro, what was Jacob?
Teferet. He's Teferet. He's balanced.
This was
Ferret is in the
in the womb and out of the womb.
And he's mercy. He was merciful.
No,
to
that'd be
Esau.
his.
These two were capable of bringing forth the final redemption. This is the dance of Hasidim and Guvarot. They were the mind and the brains of Adam reconstructed. The Ramhal says.
Would that be then what you're
They were
describing?
the Mohim.
Is that what you're describing is Mashiach?
Yes, they were Messiah. Because collectively
they were Messiah.
Collectively, they were the Messiah. There was Messiah ben Joseph and Messiah ben David all at once.
Right.
And that's not going to happen again until the Messiah comes.
Exactly.
They were there at one time. They were out of one womb.
Right.
The Messiah was there. If Esau would have done right, it would have stopped right there.
Exactly.
It was done.
Exactly.
It was going to be over with.
And when Messiah ben David comes here now, Messiah ben Joseph doesn't die.
That's correct.
And they'll both be here
That's
at the
correct.
same time.
That's why they
and
say.
Messiah will be
That's right. That's why they say, "Oh, to Joseph Chai, Joseph shall live."
That's it. That's
But
it.
will you just described two? Will there be two?
Not necessarily.
No.
Two, there will be two, like
Light,
an individual.
light overlaps.
Yeah.
Light overlaps.
Okay.
Okay. Light overlaps. Now the Ramhal says Jacob gets the blessing. Isaac and Esau wants to kill him, and they meet. And he's got 11 kids and 4 wives, because Benjamin has not been born yet. All right, and 4 wives, Yud Hey Vav Hey, the whole deal. 12. The 12th is coming because of the 10 and the 2, a Recon Peen and a Tikyo Mean. That's how we get our 12. And because he's reconstructing Keter with the tribes. All right.
You said if Esau had done right, was it that he wanted to kill?
No, if Esau would have just studied Torah,
Oh,
and
if he wouldn't have been so attached to the physical, to
Yeah.
Malchut,
Yeah.
you know, he was very much.
are you called Stacy?
reason.
Is that what's going on?
You want my ice bag?
No.
All right. Well, I'm about to burn up.
Well, you're being excited.
Okay. So now, fill my head.
You've allowed yourself to get excited.
You want?
Well, that's what happens when you study Torah. It says you should generate a fervent heat when you study Torah.
You do.
Now, and he says, so when he meets him, he says, "Behold, your face is like the face of God." And this is not false flattery, because Jacob cannot lie.
Who's saying it to who?
Jacob is saying it to Esau.
Was it he got a vision of the whole thing that
No,
was going
he
on?
can see the whole thing.
That's what I said.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
was getting a vision of everything that was going on.
And Jacob is to ferret his truth. He's looking into the soul. What was Isaac thinking to give the bracha to Esau, who is the Guvarot Yesod, the conduit? He was giving him the lifeline from the 3D to 4D that's left. The evil side would have had it, and it would have taken over forever. We went over his eyes were dim. When Isaac's eyes were burned by the Shekinah, this is called in Torah, it's called the peaking.
The people.
Peaking.
The peaking. This thing goes into 3 deals. The selling of the birthright, receiving the bracha, Jacob receiving the bracha, and the third thing Jacob has to do is fight the angel of Esau.
Fight the angel of Esau.
Yes.
Is that who he was fighting when he
At the ladder?
At Jacob's ladder?
Isaac was not just old and an old man that couldn't see. He was the arms of the world. How could he do what he did? He was Guvarot. His son was Guvarot. He could only see the good. These 2 messiahs were working in tandem. The Messiah ben Joseph is the final key if it would work together. But he didn't know. But and Isaac knew this. He knew they were both the messiahs. And Jacob was supposed to be the one that was the Torah scholar, and Isaac was supposed to be the one that provided for it, that was the protector of the Torah.
And you're talking about, you're saying Isaac. Do you mean Isaac or Esau?
Isaac, his father,
Okay.
knew his two sons were Messiah ben Joseph and Messiah ben David.
Okay.
He knew Jacob was going to be the one that was going to be kind of like the Queen Gadol in the enter of the temple service, and Esau was going to be the one that was like the protector, the guardian, the one that the stronghold, you know, and that he did not understand. He thought it was working in tandem because Esau was on the visual doing his part. And what does the bracha do? It gives you the power to rule the 70 nations. Who needed the power to rule the 70 nations? The one who was to protect the Torah.
Yeah, it was
Esau.
It was Esau's.
Yeah. And Isaac knows this. He's no dummy. But Jacob, because he was on such a spiritual level, knew his brother had gotten completely contaminated. They were all on a mission. They all knew what they were doing. So,
Once again, how did Jacob get part of Esau's soul?
we're just gonna term it as cosmic surgery. He went in to that klipa and went into that dimension and got it.
Was that at the time when they had the lentils and the passing of the
Yes.
birthright?
Yes.
It was more like he took on his mantle.
Yeah. Let's see. Esau and the word shalom have the same gematria because it is the essence of shalom.
If I had my phone.
Esau is the essence of Shalom.
I don't know. Is John on there?
It will become.
He can, sometimes he can't get where he's at.
Okay, because there has to be the positive and the negative for
Hold on
there
a
to be
second.
peace.
There to be balance, for there to be Tiferet.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's see here.
Okay.
What is the gematria? I don't know. I didn't add it up.
I'm fixing to find it. 70. 370. No.
And so Jacob goes in and gets the cosmic Yesod, blessing, the cosmic Yesod from Esau. That's why he has a son named Yesod. He has a son named Russell. Jacob goes in to Esau and gets the bracha, which is the Yesod.
Okay.
And so Jacob has a son who is Yesod, and his name is
Joseph.
Joseph. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Joseph is the thing that he extracted. Because he is Messiah ben Joseph.
Right.
So Jacob extracted Joseph out of Esau.
That's the Messiah ben Joseph part. See what he's doing?
Right. And so
No,
Ephraim and Manasseh come out of Egypt.
Where Isaac was not allowed
So
to
what
go.
is he doing? You said, so what is he doing? Do you see what he's doing? What?
Repeat what I said.
You said, what is he doing?
No, before that. The question I asked Russell.
That Teresa answered from me.
What was the question? What did he, who,
What did Jacob
he name his
extract?
son?
Right.
What did he name his son?
And Joseph. And where did he get that?
That was associated with Yesod.
Yeah. He got it from Esau.
The suffering?
No, they would have together been in Yesod. Esau and Jacob together were supposed to be in,
The channel that goes through Yesod.
yeah. And so instead of it being Esau, it was Joseph.
It skipped on down the next generation.
Well, because he went and got it, and then he birthed it.
Would
He-
Joseph have been Esau if Esau had done what he was supposed to?
Yeah.
You said he went and got it and birthed it. Esau?
Jacob
Or
went and got it.
Jacob did.
The birthright, when he got the spark out of
Okay.
Esau.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, moving on. He took it out of the klipa. And this is why he had to marry Rachel and Leah. And her tears were the mitigation of all this guverot that was going on. Just as Jacob saved Esau, Joseph saved his brothers.
Yeah, but that's
And then Judah saved Joseph.
okay. I
Well,
got
and
you.
then who?
Then Judah saved Joseph.
Yeah.
Judah saved Joseph. So guess what?
You're speaking of his bones.
No. Judah saved Joseph. Got him out of the well.
That's true.
Oh.
Because it was Judah that was saying, don't kill him.
Yeah. He saved him.
But
He
he didn't
saved
get
him.
him out of the well.
Well, yeah, but
He
he
brought him up when he made the thing like let's sell him to
Yeah.
this deal.
Yeah.
So he talked his other brothers
Into not killing him.
into not killing
he
him
saved his brother.
and sold him.
Do y'all see what's going on? There's these two brothers that are apparently in constant battle. This one saves that one saves this one. There's the story goes. Boom, 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 boom. What is that? It's the dance of
Hasidim and Guverot.
Hasidim and Guverot. We are going to have our chance to save Esau. And Esau is going to have his chance to, once again, save his brother. And his brother, because of what his brother is, will ultimately save Esau from destruction.
So is that what's going on over there in the Middle East right now?
That's what's going on. That's what's going on in this study hall. That's what's going on in this world. And that's what's going on in the Middle East. And we
Say
are...
that again.
So is
No, I'll say it again.
Esau today is saving Israel. But it doesn't
Esau...
look like it.
No, we are the thing that is saving Israel.
Doing Tikkun 4.
We are keeping the Sabbath. We are studying Torah. We are doing mitzvahs for the sake of heaven, which is going to restore the head of Esau. And Esau's head is going to reunite with his brother Jacob and save his brother. And in turn, his brother Jacob, i.e. Israel, is going to save his brother Esau from Gehenna.
Hallelujah.
Okay. Well, how is it that we're the head? You said we're saving his head. How is that?
Because only the head is in the lap of Isaac.
So they don't know the midrash about the story.
Yeah. And so this is the whole P2P principle. You know, the thing I taught on Jerusalem of the mind, how to do the meditation. Why all the Peniel principle, we'll get into it, where you have to bring your Yesod energy up and you're doing this Torah in your mind, and because it's all done from here up. It's saving the head of Esau. Why is the neck?
Saving the body, the head saved. Right?
No, it's bringing the body up to the
Bringing
head.
the body up into the head, because that's the whole thing with the meditation, is pulling everything.
That's
up into
right. This
into
whole
the head.
principle
Gotcha.
is say that's how the body of Esau will be
That's
Tikkun.
how you pull it out. That's how you pull it actually into Machpelah, into
That's
Gad.
right. So you're saved. So we will ultimately save the body.
Yes, if we pull it up into.
That's right.
So
That's
you're
right.
actually pulling those.
Yes. And
Well,
this
that's
is
the reverse of the fall.
that's the reverse of the fall. And this is the system Rabbi Bass came up with
Okay.
for the Gentiles. Only the Gentiles are doing this. Now, because see, why is the neck the smallest part of the torso? You got the
There's
big
so
head,
few. There's
and
so
then you
few
got the little
people.
neck, and then you got the big shoulders, you got the big gut, and all that. Why?
Because there's so
Because
few.
this is the constriction of the tzimtzum. You know the tzimtzum, expansion,
Yeah.
contraction. The neck, the head is the expansion, the neck is the contraction, and the rest of the body is the expansion of this whole thing. And so this, once we take this whole thing and bring it up, it will all be the rebuilding, reconstruction, the tikkun of the head of Esau. We are doing more cosmic surgery when we do mitzvah because Esau has returned to the tents of Shem. And that is us.
So somebody like you, though, that knows what you're doing, are doing this mindfully.
Yes.
Me, if I'm doing a mitzvah,
That's why-
I'm doing it accidentally.
But for so long, but still you're doing it. You know? I mean, if you close your eyes and shoot the gun, the bullet's still going to hit the wall. But it does work better if you open your eyes.
We're in motion. As long as you stay in motion.
Yeah. But see, here's the thing. 99, all of Noahides except for the 2 on the phone and the 5 or 6 in here don't know this. None of them do. They're trying to be Jews. They're trying to work on Adam. They're trying to work on Israel.
So we're happy to be Gentile.
We're happy to be Esau. We're happy to be Gentile.
We have to be.
We have the biggest mission from God on the planet. And we're the first ones to figure it out.
As far as we know.
I'm pretty sure.
Elijah thought he was the only one.
I'm pretty sure.
There were 300.
If somebody else
Well,
knows
this conversation ain't happening in too many other places tonight.
I can promise you, and I can promise you that this
It is Wednesday night. It's church night.
This is the
And it's church
thing.
night too.
It's Tuesday though, today.
This is the thing that is going to make a resounding bang in the world. Now, hey, Chad, would you please put your end on mute? Now, this whole thing, they're doing it. They don't know that they're doing it. You see what I'm saying? Just like you were doing it. You didn't know what you were doing. You thought you were helping Israel, and you are indirectly through Esau. But now, after tonight, it's life changing. It's completely life changing because it gives us purpose. We are the dance of Hasidim and Guvarot. You see what I'm saying? We are that. See, Israel hasn't been able to go anywhere because there's never been any Guvarot help in the world. There's no energy. There's no polarity. But when we start doing this,
There's no diesel.
yeah, there's no hashmal. But now that we're doing this, and now we understand what we're doing, now that's what wakes up Judah, Jacob, Israel. That's what gets Hashem out of the sleep.
The coma.
Yeah.
But then, in a sense, you've got some of them that get the big head and say, "Oh, it's because of us that, and we're studying Torah and we're doing this and we're doing that. That the non-religious Jews are stepping up."
Well,
to
you
play.
have to do it within the concept of ego and for the
That's
will
how
to
you do it.
receive for the sake of heaven alone.
Right.
You have to do it for the sake of heaven.
Yeah, and we are. I mean, this whole class has been built on the premise of for the sake of heaven. And that's why we're getting this information, y'all.
Right.
I'm telling you, God gave me this information.
Mm-hmm.
And I ran it through all the rabbinic filter I could. And he says, you are absolutely 100% correct. I can't believe I never saw it.
Did you receive this insight during meditation?
No, I received it right here studying Torah.
Was that the
Which
day,
is a type of meditation.
Was that the day that I was in there getting therapy? And for the first time in my life, I remembered back that book of Women's Kabbalah, and I was trying to be healed because I've been in so much pain. And so I remembered it was it was Aleph, Shem, Shin,
Mem.
Mem. And so then I began to meditate on that in English. And then I began to try to remember what the letters look like in Hebrew. And all of a sudden, instead of being the sound of what did you say that?
Amsh.
Amish.
She changed the letters around to Hashem.
Because I did it
instead
like
of
30
Amish.
minutes. I did it 30 minutes, and all of a sudden, it wasn't what I had read, what he Amish. It was Hashem. 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 And at the same time, when I came in and told him he had been in the other room.
I've been in here studying, and I told her, I said, "We got it." All right.
It was the positive, negative connected.
One of the things for Rebecca tells Jacob, "Upon me be your curse." He said, "Man, I don't need this curse on me," you know, because he knew what Adam did, you know. He's like, no, now Adam did this and the curse fell upon him. And she says, "No, this time let the curse be upon me, my son." Meaning that the curse you suffered in at Adam's time will be my fault. See how she's doing tikkun for Eve? During that whole time, she's turned the whole garden thing around.
She had the right to save it, and the power to save it.
Yes. Back to answer your delicacy things, it doesn't go into. It says, since Cain came forth from the impurity of the snake, who raped Eve, which caused Adam to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and Eve was not raped; she did it on her own free will. Tasting the two flavors, good and evil. Isaac therefore commanded Esau to make me delicacies, in the plural, implying two flavors. Just as Adam hungered for two flavors, make me a dish of two flavors, good and evil. And it goes on to talk about this a little bit. For Isaac thought that the world had not yet been rectified, as stated above. Jacob also thought that the sin of Adam had not yet been rectified. See, they're working. Isaac's working on his side, Jacob's working on his side. Therefore he reasoned, and of course it says that if he tricked his father, he would be adding iniquity. So he couldn't trick his father. He would be adding to the iniquity of Adam's sin. In other words,
continue.
Yeah, he would be falling right in the same plot, you know. So he was afraid to bring this curse upon him, and because he was trying to rectify the curse of Adam. This was the meaning of when Jacob said, "I will bring upon myself a curse, not a blessing." Then his mother told him, "Listen to my voice." She knew what she was doing. She went into the cosmic graveyard to fix it. And in doing so, she was rectifying Adam's sin of listening to his wife, as is written. And to Adam, God said, "Since you listened to the voice of your wife," Adam sinned for an improper purpose. By having her son listen to her for the proper purpose, Rebekah rectified the sin of Adam. So, that's the contents of that. And then she goes on to explain, only listen to my voice. The word only limits her words, implying this time you should listen to my voice. Because last time it was a bad purpose, but this time it is not. So, Jacob brought Isaac wine to drink, just as Adam and Eve squeezed the grapes and made wine. They drank wine. Just as Noah squeezed the grapes and made wine, so too did Jacob squeeze grapes for his father and make wine. But this time, they had fixed the crack. But Esau opened it up once again.
How did he do that?
He got the klipa. He got contaminated, just like the other ones had. All right. So anyway, that's the story of the life of Isaac and his generations. Next week, the Parsha will be Vayetze. And Jacob departed to Beersheba, to the place. So next week we get to talk about the place. and we will see.
We
We will see Jacob is on a mission still, and I'm telling you, the Torah should transform your life in every way it can, because now we understand who we are, what we are, and what our mission is. We always knew we were doing something, but we never knew what. But we had to follow the map, and we had to follow the equations, and thank God that He gave us this Torah and this old Torah to map this out, to figure out what's going on. Y'all, we are in the final redemption. Make no mistake about it. And now that we are back in the tents of Shem, we are going to have major global effect on the world, on Adam, and on the body of Israel through Tikkun of his twin brother. The Torah is amazing, Hashem is amazing, and the sages are amazing, and we will see you next week right here.